A friend of mine posted this on their Instagram story, and I'm about to show my nerdy side. Okay, when I was younger, I was all into Pokemon. And no offense to the horoscope and zodiac signs people, but I can't help but wonder. I wonder if there is something to say about people who choose these starting Pokemon. I think this is gonna be a fun experiment though. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this poll, and I want you guys to choose which one was your starting Pokemon. And I'm not gonna tell you which one is mine, but I bet you're gonna be able to know which one is my starting Pokemon based on what my theory is behind the three of them. And I'll share it with you right now. So my theories are, if you chose Charmander, you're thinking, oh, it's the most popular one and it's the coolest, so I'm gonna choose Charmander. And if you chose Bulbasaur, you're probably the type of person that's like, oh, but I'm different from everybody. And if you chose Squirtle, you're strategic. If most people chose Charmander, you're already gonna be most people in the world, since most of the population chose Charmander because water beats fire. And you're strategic enough to teach it a TM, or a technical move, if you guys remember the game. You can teach Squirtle an ice move because ice is super effective against the grass type like Bulbasaur. You'd basically be able to KO Charmander and KO Bulbasaur. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody wrote a more in-depth description and psychology behind the three. I didn't go that deep into it. That's based on what I thought when I was a younger girl. And I'm wondering if anyone else thought the same or can challenge my idea on why they chose Charmander, why they chose Bulbasaur or Squirtle. Oh yeah, just for fun, let's see how smart you guys are. Here's the poll, and tell me what you think I chose. I just want to acknowledge I have the most awesome followers and friends, and I'm so glad I brought this Pokemon topic up because I received the most interesting conversations in my DMs and responses. So let's talk about these results real quick. Interesting how Charmander and Bulbasaur scored even. And Bulbasaur is known to be the super underdog. But hey, I guess Bulbasaur is more popular nowadays. I was paying attention to who voted for Bulbasaur, and they're all females. But I reflected further and I noticed that all of these females that voted for Bulbasaur, they all are heavily involved or somewhat involved with fashion. Like, I know one of them in particular records YouTube videos of herself playing with fashion. And one in particular styles her own dress. Like, she sells her own clothing. She's her own brand. And that got me thinking, it takes a special type of eccentric and creative type of person to choose Bulbasaur. I asked some of you why you chose each of these characters, and a lot of you, especially the girls, were like, cause it's cute. And the guys were like, oh, cause it's cool. And Charmander turns into a freaking dragon. Like, Charmander's just cool. Let's look at what you guys chose for me. Now, the part where I had you guys guess which was my starting Pokemon was super entertaining for me. When I described my very biased theory behind Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, I thought you guys would have known which one my starting Pokemon was, but only some of you got it right. Which is okay. I was entertained that some of you thought I chose Charmander because I apparently always wear red. I didn't know you guys pay attention closely to me like that. Several of you that thought I chose Bulbasaur was super interesting. You guys shared a response and reason as to why you thought I chose Bulbasaur. Let me read to you what a friend of mine said, and he's a millennial like I am. He wrote, well, we never did get green version, because he's right. We had blue, red, and yellow version during our times. He says, I would say those were the colors we associate with everything else, especially as millennials from the 90s. Fire, meaning red, always associated with leadership roles like in Power Rangers or Star Trek and Harry Potter, more charismatic, outgoing personalities. Blue, always associated with strategic and smart. Same example from above, Ravenclaw and Billy the Nerd, Blue Ranger, and again, Star Trek, blue uniforms were the science department. And green was just to be different because we have nothing to associate it with except Bulbasaur, who's strong but humble and loyal and nurturing people who are loners. They picked him because it's the trope that no one picked. And I can see why he thought that. I do tend to help those that are kind of like the underdog and I want to see them win. And I do have a nurturing personality, so that's a very fair assessment. One of the girls that chose Bulbasaur, she shared with me saying, no, you're right though, I felt called out. I was definitely that weirdo kid who was very anti-mainstream anything. And then this guy wrote, you're a Bulbasaur because you are toxic. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Let me help him out here. He totally misspelled that. There you go. Bulbasaur because you are intoxicating. Thank you. I know. And now to reveal the starting Pokemon that I chose. Ready? Drum roll. It's Squirtle! See, I thought I made it obvious, because I mentioned how Squirtle would be able to KO both Charmander and Bulbasaur, meaning you'd be a champion if you chose Squirtle. Several of you in the DMs that guessed correctly that I chose Squirtle mentioned that I'm a very calculative person, and I am. I'm a strategist at heart. That's why I love coaching, and I love gamifying things. That's why I have the school platform. I want to gamify and make it fun for you guys to learn so that you can win. Strategist. Anyway, thanks for playing, you guys. That was super fun.